So apparently, Ironheart Shills out there have made a desperate move as Marvel gets a brutal reality check over Ironheart, okay? This Ironheart disaster. So people are now passing around this image on X claiming that Robert Downey Jr. Said that if you don't like Ironheart, you're a racist. I mean, that's the line right there. No context, just that. You're a racist if you don't like it. Attached to a smiling RDJ and a photo of Dominique Thor, who plays Riri Williams, also known as Ironheart. Now, the worst part is that it's possible that there's some people out there that are actually falling for it. No video, no source, just the quote and a fan edit, okay? And now it's going viral like gospel. And this is how Ironheart fans are trying to go ahead and keep the Marvel narrative itself alive by shaming everyone who doesn't cheer on their disaster of a show. Okay, so honestly, no one can find a real clip of Robert Downey Jr. ever saying this, not from a red carpet, not from an interview online, not even from one of those forced junket panels. Okay, nothing. But you post a meme with text slapped on it, and suddenly it's accepted as fact. I mean, that's where we are at now. If Ironheart tanks, and it clearly has, the fallback and strategy from the Marvel crowd is to just go ahead and cry racism and throw Downey's name around like it's a shield, okay? Now, the man played Iron Man for over a decade, and now they're trying to go ahead and weaponize him for a project that he's not even a part of, okay? So, yeah, this is how bad it's gotten. Ironheart can't generate real hype, real views, or real interest. So the strategy is to go ahead and make the conversation about race and shame, not quality, not story, not merit, just outrage. And they think that they can slap Robert Downey Jr.'s name on it. Fans will roll over and just accept it. But no one's buying it right now. The only thing more fictional than Riri Williams building a Stark level, suit in a dorm room is the idea that RDJ signed off on that particular quote. And also, I got to give a shout out for World Class BS on X for sharing that, questioning it if he really said that, because that got me questioning that as well. And look at if you look at the desperation here, Marvel has completely lost control of the narrative itself. Now, they thought Ironheart was going to be their next big legacy character or flop, and they positioned her as the spiritual successor to Tony Stark after saying that, Tony Stark doesn't really have anything to do with this at first, and then they changed up. They even floated the idea that she'd carry the tech baton, but audiences are not interested. You see, no amount of memes, fake quotes are going to change that, because people already know a soulless DEI project when they see one, and Ironheart checks that very box, check every box, okay? So this is exactly what happens when your entire strategy is identity politics over substance. Now, Ironheart was never built to be a compelling character, okay? She was engineered in a boardroom, basically, drafted by committee, as I said before, and designed to appease Twitter of 2017. That's the only reason she existed in Marvel pipeline, not because fans demanded her, not because, her comic sales justified it, but because it checked the right boxes in the PR department. And now they're stunned that it's not working. That's no surprise there. But what they didn't plan for was that audiences are done pretending. You see, they're done clapping for mediocrity. Ironheart was supposed to carry some of the post-endgame weight for Marvel, but instead, she's another punchline, okay? A placeholder character in a universe that used to be built on legends like Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Natasha Romanoff. And now, it's just about making sure that the casting spreadsheet just looks good, even if the writing is trash and the pacing is non-existent. And now Robert Downey Jr.'s image and name is being dragged into the fallout, where people are just attaching his name to go ahead and guilt trip campaigns and stuff for a show he has zero connection to. And this is not this is not just dishonest, okay? It's insulting. Ironheart should be able to stand on its own, but it's not. If it were any good, but it's not. So They're propping her up with fake outrage, rage bait, hoping some of Downey's legacy can rub off. But RDJ didn't build the MCU playing the victim. He built it by being excellent, okay? But honestly, it's also worth noting that this isn't even the first time they've done this. You see, Marvel fans who can't handle criticism just toss out accusations. If you didn't like the Marvels, well, you were sexist. If you didn't like She-Hulk, you were misogynistic. If you don't like Ironheart, well, you're racist. And that's the pattern right there that we've all seen time and time again. They never defend the writing. They never defend the production quality. It's just always attack the audience instead of just fixing the content itself, okay? Now, that tells you everything that you need to know about Ironheart and Marvel. If it were a good show, it wouldn't need this kind of fake more defense or desperation. It would speak for itself, but it doesn't. So now we're being told that we're bigots if we criticize a fictional character. If Ironheart fails, it's not because of poor acting or lazy writing. No, it's because the audience just didn't clap hard enough for the checklist. I mean, that's the narrative right now that they're trying to go ahead and push, okay? And it's also hilarious how the image circulating tries to go ahead and use on Robert Downey Jr.'s likability as a trap. Like, people will see his face, see the quote, and go, well, if he said it, I must be wrong. That's how shallow Marvel discourse has become, okay? They've actually gone from carefully crafted hero arcs to meme warfare and reputation manipulation. Instead of just elevating Ironheart with good storytelling, I mean, right now, they're just trying to guilt fans into silence and do rage bait, and it's backfiring massively. No one hates Ironheart because of the actress. No one hates Ironheart because of her skin color or race, but simply people hate Ironheart because it was just rushed, poorly written, soulless show built on identity checkmarks from Marvel instead of character. And it came out during the collapse of Marvel's Phase 5 mess, when fans are already burnt out from slop like Secret Invasion and Echo. Now, Ironheart didn't have a shot, even if it had been decent, which it wasn't, okay? And don't forget just how this particular strategy plays out long term when Ironheart gets canceled for quietly buried, getting buried. They're just going to go ahead and blame racism instead of the content. Now, Marvel has been doing this every time a project fails. They act like their audience is just suddenly full of bigots when in reality it's the same people who made this franchise cultural juggernaut. Now, they're gaslighting the very base that actually built them. I mean, that's why it's collapsing, okay? And the bottom line is this. Ironheart didn't fail because, fans are racists. It fell because it's boring. Corporate branded IP with no spark at all, mind you. If the writing had been sharp, the character had a compelling arc, people would have at least supported it. But instead, we've got a recycled storyline, derivative tech, and a protagonist who felt like a stand-in rather than a hero. Now, Marvel didn't care about making her great at all. They cared about just checking off the right boxes, okay? Now, honestly, Robert Downey Jr. didn't say the quote. I don't believe that at all. There's no evidence anywhere, and even if he did, it wouldn't change the fact that, honestly, Ironheart is a flop. Now, posting a quote from a graphic doesn't make it real, but instead, that's the only card that the defenders of this show have left. Shame. They want fans to voice their opinions, but that's not going to work anymore. You see, people have seen what Marvel has become, and they're done clapping for mediocrity at this point. And if the best defense of Ironheart is calling critics racist or fans racist, then that tells you everything. You don't need a fake RDJ quote. You just need a better show. But guess what? They can't even give you that. So they lie, they manipulate, they smear, and they think that people wouldn't notice. But we see it. You know, we see Ironheart for what it is, a failed project shoved down our throats during a collapsing era for Marvel. And no amount of memes will save it now. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash that like button, share the video far wide across social media, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for future uploads notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.